We make cases that things can't be beat, and then they get beat.
Hello and welcome back to the Let's Talk Racing YouTube channel in association with Racing TV.
Wow.
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 Why wow?
Cheltenham this week.
Cheltenham is back. I hope you are just as excited as we are. We obviously know it's not the best card run at Cheltenham across the whole season, but racing back at Cheltenham just does something slightly different to it.
It does completely. Look, the October meeting is always an interesting card in terms of it's not maybe some of the greatest horses we'll ever see, but it just hits different. And people say, oh, you could run this around Ludlow. But, like, with respect to Ludlow, I don't want to see it around Ludlow. I want to see it at Cheltenham.
Exactly, yeah, absolutely. And it's the first glimpse of a few horses that we might be getting to know a lot this season. In this video, we are going to be previewing a couple of races. We're also going to be previewing a race at Aintree on Sunday, and then giving our best bets with a little bit more detail where they come from. And talking of best bets, last week, Frere Dames finished second. Never looked like he wanted to go past. It was agonisingly close, and you had one run?
I did. I had Woodland Park, very similar. Second, beaten a half length. I think they were beaten a length between the two of them. Neither of them necessarily showed a massively willing attitude to go by. That being said, I know it wasn't a best bet, but positivity, Weighed Out was impressive.
Weighed Out was impressive. He got the job done. But that means that we've got an opportunity to turn things round and change the tide. Because for me especially, I'm really needing to change the tide when it comes to best bets, and hopefully Cheltenham is just where we're going to do it. If you're still undecided whether you should come to Cheltenham, you should definitely come. We've got links down in the description to tickets, single tickets for this week's meeting, and this is your last opportunity to get the whole value of an 18 to 28 membership. If you are between 18 and 28, you can get a membership for £290. Now it would cost you pretty much £750 for a club enclosure ticket for every single meeting throughout the season. The festival itself is 400 quid. You can go to the festival, you can go to every other meeting for 290. Value for money, it really is, and it's something that you should definitely make the use of whilst you're between 18 and 28. So if you do want to get a membership, now is the time to do it. I think you can pick it up at Cheltenham on the day, I believe, if you were to get one today. So go down in the description and do click on that. And also we've got a column that'll also be in the description as well. Go and read our first column. We answered your questions. Right, enough rambling, let's get straight into this. The first race we're going to preview is on Friday, and it's the 3 o'clock. It's the Sky Bet Novices Hurdle. It's a grade 2. It's kind of been called the Supreme Trial, but that was used to be at the November meeting. Now it's moved to the October meeting. And this is a fascinating little race, because I actually think we could see something very special from the favourite, Gail Marler. We've got Gail Marler in there, we've got Brave Knight for Paul Nicholls and Harry Cobden, we've got Valgrand, who I thought was going to be an absolute rick in a handicap of 118. He's running in a graded race, which is extremely annoying. But Gail Marler, all the form is genuinely superb. I know she was running races through the summer, and I probably overlooked her, and that was my fault. But even if you look back at her bumper win at Southall, she beat Asian Star, which won today at Southall over hurdles and on her hurdles debut. Then she went on just a running spree. She beat Flying Fortune at Uttoxeter in a novice hurdle. She beat Leatherstone Lily, which is going to be one of the favourites for the first race on Saturday, I suspect, or even the first race actually on this day.
Yes.
The form is just really rock solid. I think at Galway, going over there, beating the Geldings, the fourth horse, was it?
Yeah, Gaucher.
Was beaten 18 lengths, won a listed race on his next start, albeit a very weak one. But she could be, she's 8 to 11, she's not really a betting prospect, but she really could be above average. You know how in the last couple of years we've had a few horses from the summer that have carried that into the winter, the likes of Mystical Powers, the likes of Marie National. I'm not saying she's as good as them, but she could be pretty good.
Oh no, she's definitely a fine mare, I'd say. Look, she's got all the form in the book for a race like this. She should be winning, if we're being brutally honest. She's getting weight off Brave Knight and Valgrand, even though she's well in excess of them on the ratings. You'd like to hope she'll get the job done. She's obviously been given a little bit of a break by Adrian Keatley after Galway. I don't think that's a bad thing. She had plenty of runs in that short space of time. I love a mare that can go and do it against the Geldings. And what she did at Galway, when she was 9 to 2, there's a Willie Mullins fab in there, well fancied a Bromhead horse, just kicked them aside.
She was really good. When it comes to this, are you looking at this as possibly a forecast betting proposition, trying to pick something that's going to finish second, and who would that be?
I would think Valgrand will come second, to be honest. I think Brave Knight's very susceptible, if I'm being brutally honest. Paul Nicholls' horses have been a little bit in and out. I know some of them have been winning, but some of them have, been a little bit ordinary in the last couple of weeks. Yeah, Valgrand just brings a heap of potential to it. You'd like to hope from a handicapping perspective he wouldn't get that close to Gail Mahler, but, it's a grade 2. They're going to have to run on their merits, and, they'll be thinking, well, they haven't just thrown him in for the sake of it. Maybe they think he's up to it.
I think they probably do, which is interesting, and it probably gives me a bit of satisfaction with they hold him in high regard and therefore he must be better than 118. I would love him to get beat 12 lengths by a really good mare getting weight and then go and run and handicap next time out.
It is like the look-away situation last year where you're dealing with a very well handicapped horse, and he obviously went and won the grade 2, then he got beaten in the Great Wood Hurdle by 2 lengths, and you're there going, he went up £10 for winning this grade 2. Now, I know it's 25 grand to the winner, so, it depends what people are interested in, but you would think looking at it that Valgrand would have been an absolute snip somewhere off 118.
The second race we're going to preview comes on Saturday, and it's a race I'm really looking forward to in the 3:30 Mattison's Holding Hurdle. We've actually got a very...
It's a good race.
Good race, yeah. For this race, I think Pied Piper came over and walked home once in it, and there's been a few races where they've either not been very classy and it's kind of been a bit of a scrappy race, loads in it, or there's been one actual standout. Whether here, there's some really nice horses. Bottle Secret obviously finished second to Cargisi at Punchestown. Khalif de Burle won the Adonis.
Yep.
Salva, third in the Triumph. Dodger Long absolutely hacked up at Chepstow and I was there. And then Give Me Five brings some good form in there as well. And there's a few horses actually respectable at the bottom as well. On Braden Farser, I think won the Triumph trial.
He was
something like that.
Second to Burdett Road, wasn't he? Yeah, in November last year. Eagles
But
Reign
one at the October meeting.
He did, and Eagles Reign won the Lartigue last time. So it's a good little race, this.
How do you see it?
It's a tough race. I think Bottler's Secret's the best horse in the race. So therefore, if he was to win, obviously wouldn't surprise me. He's the 11-8 favourite. I'm not telling anyone they don't know. But I'm a little bit worried that he needs soft ground. All of his runs thus far and all of his best performances are on soft ground, heavy ground. Does that make him a little bit vulnerable? Perhaps so. Khalif de Burle, he strikes me as one of those Nicholls horses that isn't going to suit Cheltenham. I know obviously there's a little bit of worry about the Nicholls horse's first time out at the moment anyway. I know he's just a big raw horse. Not sure whether this is really what he needs.
I think Nicholls won this race with Kel Destan back in the day and Blue King Daru last year.
Yeah.
But they were slightly, at the time, nippier forward types. He looks like a real backwards 3-mile chaser of 2 or 3 years down the line.
That's how I'd look at it anyway. I'd be willing to be proven wrong there.
If he was to win this, he'd be
he's a good horse, And that does leave you with Salver. I wouldn't be in a mad rush to back anything in the race. I know that's a bit uninspiring because I do think Bottler's Secret is better than Salver. But maybe in this type of race, these types of conditions, that mightn't be shown.
I know Bottler's Secret has finished closer to Cargis at Punchestown, but Cargis had ran at Aintree and Cheltenham and
the DRF.
And the DRF, whether he hadn't at all. So he was kind of coming in there a bit more of a fresh horse. I know he ran at Ferryhouse at the Christmas period, but much fresher. Got quite close, but Salva finished third in a Triumph, only I think 4 lengths behind Cargi. So for me, he's going to bowl out in front. He'll be fit. Gary Moore will definitely get them fit. And he's in a bit of a tricky one this season where I'm not sure there's too many races over this side of the sea which he can actually run in and be competitive. So I think they'll actually target this, where the Bottler's Secret's going to have slightly more options. I think there's a 4-year-old hurdle that Espoir de Len won, those types of things. I'm going to back Salva at 5-1, I think, because I just think he'll go out in front. I think it'll be really difficult to stop, especially if he's fit, and I think Bottler's Secret will have to be fit to beat him. I don't think this is a walk in the park.
No, not in the slightest. I'd like to think Gavin Cromwell will have the lot that he's bringing over relatively forward. He obviously targeted these meetings, the November and October meeting last year. But no, I can completely see your point. I'd see Salver really putting in a bold show.
And if you were to kind of look at horses that are going to be fit and use that angle, then Give Me Five is the interesting one, because he's at a prep run on the flat at Haydock, ran really, really well that day as well. He's obviously a good bit behind Bottler's Secret on known form, but he does have that fitness edge, and this time of year it is tricky to work it out. I actually quite like those decent winter horses having had a run and going up against the horses that maybe haven't?
Yeah, you'd think just on the...
Because he been running really, really well, maybe not being good enough.
Yeah, I think just the fact that he's held by Bottle of Secret and Caliph de Burley on form would leave him with plenty to find. But, you know, these things can be changed. And if you're going to get slightly odd results, it is going to be at this time of the season.
Just flicking through cards then, Friday and Saturday, before we get to Aintree. I'm just going to ask you a couple of ideas. The 2 mile novices chase, obviously Gavin Cromwell's got Path de Rue. What do you think of him?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Path de Rue.
You don't like him? Do you be backing Gordon's horse?
He's a perennial loser. Well, Gordon's horse is in tomorrow, or actually today, as this video will be going out at Thurles, I believe it is. It's Thurles or Clonmel. And it'd be interesting to see whether she actually comes over or not. You might see later on, one of my best bets is in that race.
Really?
Yes.
Fascinating. One of my good friends, his dad bought IUIs to that.
Really?
Yeah, I used to work for a company, a car parking company. It wasn't very good. Nice. When I was like 17, 18, getting absolute dog's abuse on the phone. And
what were you actually doing in this car parking company?
Genuinely just getting dog's abuse on the phone. And yeah.
From who? From people in the car park?
Pretty much, yeah, and people that had been ticketed. And
okay.
I was part of that side, and it's not a proud moment. But anyway, he's earned a lot of money through it, and he ended up buying a few horses with John Joe. He used to have Tegerek. Remember that thing that won at the October meeting, the boys' race, and went off Favre Greatwood and refused or stuff like that?
Yeah.
I think he's finished third in a Greatwood. I don't know why he did.
He was a good horse, but he had his own mind about it.
Yeah, he was.
But he's bought this nag.
Yeah, I don't know why they're selling him though. And I did tell him that. I did go. I actually thought, to be honest, IUI to that could be like a Hennessy horse this time.
Yeah.
Last year, I think he won at the December meeting or something like that.
He did, yeah, I think so.
And yeah, I'm not sure. The 2.5 mile novices hurdle on the Friday. Manila 6-0 Potter's Charm.
Yeah, I thought Potter's Charm looked a nice type of Tristan Davis horse that we might see plenty of before Christmas, I suspect, and might actually rack up a bit of a sequence, I think.
And then going to Saturday's card, again, just kind of rough overview. The 3 mile novices hurdle, John McConnell looks like he's going to run intense approach around at Chepstow. Yeah,
look, I kind of said before Chepstow, I'd love to have seen him in this race. Whether Chepstow, where he had a pretty hard race, has that taken a little bit of the edge off him?
Maybe. Are you not getting a little bit giddy that he could be the Bardenssound-led Wrexham of this year?
Yeah, I know. See, this is it. Learn, improve. That's what I'm doing this year.
A Broadway boy?
Yeah, good to see him back. Obviously, his season slightly kind of came to a pretty limp conclusion in the end. He's got a big chance in that handicap chase. Another race that I have actually a strong enough fancy that's a bigger price though.
Okay, interesting. Looking forward to that later. And then the last race we'll have a quick gloss over is the 405 on Saturday. I actually think Highland's going to take a good bit of beating in the 3 mile novices chase. Highest rated in the race. And I did think that he looked every inch a chaser, and one of those that Henderson will really improve. Johnny Who won't run, and I just don't really think... I think Bowser Greatness probably will run, and he's got the experience on his side, but he's a second or third season.
Yeah, you'd be very disappointed if Bowser Greatness was in this.
Absolutely.
With great respect.
I agree.
He's a nice horse, but you'd be disappointed.
Quick gloss over Cheltenham there. Then we're going to move to Aintree. It's the Old Roan Chase at 150 on Sunday. We've got a few favourites in here. Protectorate in there, Stage Star, Manella Drama, Ahoy Senor, Chasing Fire for Ollie Murphy, Hitman in there, Unexpected Party won the Grand Daniel. This is a decent race if it was a conditions race,
yes,
but it's a handicap and therefore tricky one to work out. Who's going to be fit, who's not going to be fit. One thing for certain, at 7-2, I wouldn't be going anywhere near Protectorate. No. Because Dan Skelton will be delighted if that horse finishes third, because this will not be...
Just a complete pipe opener.
Yeah, pipe opener for a lot of them. I think it's the same thing could stay with Stage Star.
Yeah, again, similar to with how Nichol's horses are running. I don't know what they'd be doing with him, whether they'd even be thinking of taking in another Paddy Power off top weight. I'm not so sure. Ahoy Senor, certainly over the last couple of years, I know he's got a great Aintree record, but his first run's off and a blowout, and he's carrying a huge lump. It does leave some talented horses, though, of kind of attractive racing weights.
It does. Right, moving on to best bets. I want you to fire through yours in as much detail down the lens.
Well, I'm starting off on Friday at Cheltenham, and it is in that 2 mile novices chase. 5 runner. I believe it might be a 4 runner race by the time we actually go to post, because I don't think She Could Be Anything will travel. Therefore, it leaves Path de Rue, who's a perennial loser. Does anyone like a perennial loser?
No one likes a perennial loser.
No, he slightly gives me Railway Hurricane vibes. I know he's a better horse than that. I think San Salvador is the horse to beat in that race. He's won his last 2. He beat a horse called Jordan's, a stablemate of his who's gone on to win a Grade 3. He won a graded race last time out. His jumping's gotten better. Richie Deegan takes the ride because JJ Slevin's on the sidelines at the moment with an injury. I don't think that's any issue. He's 9-2 at the moment. He might be 3-1 on the day. I think that's a fair kind of assessment of his chances. I think he'll be second fav. I think he'll go very close. And then later on in the Friday card at Cheltenham, the boys race, or the conditional jocks race, should I say, the last race on the card. I know it's the blatant obvious, but sometimes we can complicate the non-obvious. And Fiercely Proud's in there off 129. Young jockey Callum Pritchard takes £10 off him. He's 5-2. He's just a rick.
Right.
He's just a rick. Like, I know potentially they'll be looking at the Greatwood Hurdle and stuff like that, but he still should be winning this, to be honest. I know it's a young lad on him who's only had one career winner, I think. That's maybe the only caveat. But he really should be going very, very close. And then 2 on the Saturday in the big handicap chase, the 3 mile 1 handicap chase, the Broadway boys' favourite. I'm going to take a chance on Does He Know for Kim Bailey. Kim Bailey did us a turn at Chepstow a few weeks ago. His horses remain in good form. He's off 152. He's got an excellent record at the course. Has won at the October meeting twice before. He's won at the November meeting twice before as well. I think he's got a fantastic chance, even though he's off top weight. He's 10-12-1. He's the biggest price of the 4. I think he's got a real. He'd almost be my best of the 4, if I'm being brutally honest.
Really?
Yeah. I've just see it in my head.
It's been a little while since he's been...
Yeah, but then again, he won a Grimthorpe last year, and people will tell me, oh, I fancy some scope or something like that. He put some scope in his place last year. I don't know what people are watching. Like, sometimes people need to take the crust out of their eyes. Like, I think he's got a fantastic chance at a course that he loves. Last time he was there, he won at the November meeting in 2022. And then the final one in the 3 mile novice chase, a little bit heart overhead after I've just said learn and improve. I thought it was a very intriguing run from Moon d'Orange last time out, over 2 miles on Chase debut, back with John McConnell now. I do get your point. I think Highland will be favourite. I think he'll be hard to beat. I think the race will cut up apart from that, to be honest. And if Moon d'Orange was to come back to his form where he was 3rd behind Shanna Bob, Destroy the Evidence, Kerry Hill back in 4th in that graded novice hurdle back last December, I'd like to hope he might be a 7-8-1 shot. I think he's got a very good each way chance.
You make a compelling case for all of them.
Yeah, I wish at times that the results actually transpire to the cases we can make. We make cases that things can't be beat, and then they get beat.
Now, I've got 4 best bets for you, and the first one being a horse I think you may have backed before in Anna Bonina.
I've had my time with Anna, yeah.
In the first race on Friday, she is 10-1. Going to back her each way. I really quite like her chances. Ben Harvey comes over, takes off 5. She's effectively running off 129, which I think is a very workable mark for her. She comes off a really good 6th in the Cesarewitch, runs great around Cheltenham. I think she finished 9 lengths behind Favois in a county hurdle. She finished 10 lengths behind Montmorel over 3 miles at attempts last year. Really, really enjoys it. I think 2.5 miles. In a race of her hurdles, which is a massive step down in class for her.
Yep.
Especially at Cheltenham.
Of course, yeah.
I think that she could go well and is being overlooked because she's towards the top of the weight. The next one is in the 225 on Friday, and it's Scarface for Joe Tizzers. I think this race is going to be fascinating because you've got Matata in there who's going to go off like a scalded cat, going to go from the front really, really quick. And because he's not possibly hard fit yet, because it'll be his first run back of the season, I think he'll either run away with it or we'll come back to them and set it up for a kind of a bit more of a stayer. And I see that in Scarface, who was last seen finishing 3rd behind NX Chelsea Theo at the April meeting at Cheltenham. What I like about him, I like this about a lot of handicap chasers around Cheltenham, is when they can get on the front end and jump well.
Yeah.
And he did do that day. You just don't think he quite stayed. He also has ran really well behind Williston at Cheltenham before, I think in the April meeting of 2023. Really enjoys decent ground, which he'll get, and can jump, will go forward. I really like that. And then I quite like Strictly a Dancer in the 3:35. Now, I was at Chepstow the day that he ran, or may have been the day before, and he travelled into the race.
He did, yeah.
Unbelievably well. I actually think Jack Tudor, probably jumping 3 out, went, my goodness, I'm going to win by a street. And He was very, very, very cautious, gave him a bit of a tentative ride, ended up finishing 12 lengths behind the winner and finished 4th. Off a mark of 119, he's won this race before. Edward Vaughan claimed 7. He's running off 112. Will love the trip. Christian Williams needs a big winner.
Yep.
I think at 10 to 1, he likes this race. He's got 2 in it. He's got one that Gina Andrews is going to ride as well. She'd obviously have to be respected. But Edward Vaughan claiming 7. I think Strictly an Answer won this race with Collier on in the past.
I think so, yeah. He certainly won the race before, yeah.
Loves the trip. I think he was bang in form, and I actually think he ran really, really well last time, and the placing and finishing position didn't tell the full story. He's 10 to 1. I'm going to back him each way. Sorry, Scarface is also 8 to 1.
Yep.
So he's an each way bet. And then the last one is on Saturday in the 220, and it is Midnight Hour Fred, which is a horse who's been to Cheltenham 3 times, finished 2nd on every single occasion, ran really, really good races. I still think he remains well handicapped as a 7-year-old of 128. And with the likes of Broadway Boy in there, and I think Vanillier's in there as well, does he know? He's really far down the weight. He's got a lovely racing weight of 10 stone 4. Loves it round there, coming in off the back of a win. I think he's my nap at the meeting, because I just think that he will run really, really well. Can't see him out of the 3 unless he makes an absolute howler. Will stay forever. Loves Cheltenham, 10 to 1 each way. I'm going to go for him.
Who was that Nick Gifford horse that you were in love with one year in the big handicap chase, staying race?
The Mighty Don?
The Mighty Don.
Yeah.
That just doesn't really win.
Doesn't really win, but he's going to have his day one day. If he did actually win that season.
Yep, no, I can see it. I can see it. I wish you'd more than look. I'd say Danny Mullins would come over to ride him, which is no bad thing. He does like coming second.
He does like coming second. But if he finishes second and we're on at 10s, then we've
you've
got
done a
to
decent
make some
job.
profit.
Yeah.
And then if I was going to have like a 4.5 best bets, in fact, you know what, I'm just going to say it's 5.
Go on,
because
have
I
a
want it to
fifth.
count.
I dare you to have a fifth.
Colonel Harry in the Old Roan Chase on Sunday at Aintree. I just think that with those horses at the top of the market, he is off a dangerous weight. I think he's a pretty good horse. I think that ground, that trip is right up his street. And if he's fit compared to like a Protectorate and Stage Show, I think he could be extremely well handicapped. So
you'd like to think he'll be fit.
Yeah, I definitely think he will, because he's going to have limited targets. So Colonel Harry for me at 10 to 1, I thought it was a really good price. So there's 5 best bets, and the shortest price of them all is 8 to 1 Scarface.
Jeez, you're shrewd these days.
Not really sure, because I've not had one winner. So I'm chucking 5 at it, and if one of them wins, I'm back in profit. No, I genuinely really do fancy all 5 of those, and I was trying to narrow it down, and I was trying to put myself off backing Colonel Harry at Aintree as well, but I did want to go there.
Yeah, no, I think sometimes you need to do it. As I said in last week's one, I was talking about Rue Taylor. She will run on Saturday at Galway. Not putting her in the best bets, but just, letting people know.
Learn. That's what it's all about, improvement. We do hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and we'll see you soon.